Hello everyone, welcome to today's forum in response to the 14th anniversary of the Acquittal of Tai. The case itself is known for its serious human rights persecution by the government for half of a century. A few rogue bureaucrats use illegal taxation to threaten Taijimen Dizi and Shifu, making them to appeal over and over again. Although the court has ruled not guilty, the National Taxation Bureau kept using illegal tax bills to seize their academies and even auction off their land properties last August. A group that has been dedicating to spreading the message of love and peace throughout the world is maliciously persecuted by its own government, using illegal taxation and judicial measures for 25 years long. Last August, their properties, which were planned to build as a self-cultivation place, was even illegally auctioned off. The Taijimen case, which suffered from serious human rights violation, has also caused the awareness and condemnation by the international. There's a short video which talked more about the Taijimen case and the support from many scholars around the world. Let's take a look.
Taijimen Qigong Academy and the Action Alliance to Redress 1219 have sought justice from Taiwan's government through live protests and virtual forums.
Stop violating Taijimen's human rights!
So the Taijimen Qigong Academy case started in 1996, and it was persecution on spiritual groups, and Taijimen Qigong Academy was caught in the crossfire of all of that. Despite Supreme Court of Taiwan's rulings that we're innocent and tax-free, a few rogue bureaucrats continue to send us tax bills, and even just last year in 2020, our land was illegally auctioned off.
The Taijimen case has also garnered support from scholars around the world.
And in Taiwan, the long-running attack against the Taijimen community by bureaucratic despots within the tax administration have led many religious freedom experts around the world to condemn this form of administrative religious persecution.
The abuse of the National Tax Bureau has lasted for almost a quarter of a century. I call upon the Taiwan government to honor the law, the sentences passed by its judges, and the moral responsibility it has to watch over and protect all its citizens equally, as determined by its own mandate.
A breakthrough in the case occurred when the principal witness, on whom the prosecutor based his tax evasion accusation against Taijimen, told a journalist that the prosecutor oversaw the case and that the witness testimony was merely a formality. The witness revealed that illegal tax bills were issued to Taijimen at the request of the Investigation Bureau's City Field Office. Sheng accepted this interview when seriously ill and revealed that he was pressured to do what the prosecution told him to do. Although he has since passed away, Taijimen is hopeful that his testimony will provide the evidence needed to obtain justice.
Now we will have 4 speakers from different walks of life to voice their opinions about the ongoing injustice lasted for 25 years. The first speaker, she is now working as an elementary school teacher. Please welcome Joanne.
Hi, my name is Joanne. Today I'm going to share a story about rule of law. As a lower grade teacher in primary school, I have to deal a lot of things every day. Those things might seem trivial to adults, but the teacher's attitude of handling those trivial will affect children's personality during their childhood. I try to be as much careful as possible while I'm interacting with kids, because I want they grow up on the right path with justice and conscience. I grew up in the Taijimen where Shifu told me, make the correct choice and follow your conscience. Insist on doing the right thing, not cross the line even for the tiniest miles. And I thought that everyone was taught like such as well. However, on December 19, 1996, prosecutor Hou Huanren smeared Taijimen by using a fabricated indictment. And the National Tax Bureau used false information and amounts to levy Taijimen. For the past 25 years, we have exhausted all the redress channels. Despite many judges who have made sensible decisions on fact and evidences, some judges of the Taichung High Administrative Court have not done justice, instead committed many illegal acts during the litigation process. The first violation is not to disqualify herself from the case concerned, which she has participated in the decision of the previous trial, infringing the people's right to fair trial. For 24 years, Judge Huang Shuling has participated in Taijimen trials 34 times. A judge will form his own opinion after making the decision. If the same judge is involved in the same case next time, he will stick to his original opinion. In order to avoid bias, the law has set up the avoidance rule. But the same judge, Huang Shuling, appeared in the first trial of fact review and the second trial of legal assessment in Taijimen tax case. She violated the Article 19 of the Administrative Litigation Act of voluntary disqualification. She did not disqualify herself and even took part in the trial in the Supreme Administrative Court. Because she already formed her opinion, the party concerned did not have any chance to defend themselves. Another violation is to disregard the evidences favorable to the defendants. Two judges, Lin Qiuhuang and Zhong Jincheng, participated in Taijimen tax case trial in 2005 and 2007. Both have formed their opinions with respect to the critical points, military gift to the master, and reached unfavorable decisions on Taijimen case. For example, in the cross-ministerial meeting held in the Executive Yuan in 2011, the conclusion was that prosecutor Hou Huanren's false indictment should not be relied upon as a basis for taxation. Nevertheless, the National Tax Bureau Central District continued to use the false statements in the indictment, and these three judges still accept the arguments. In the post-trial media conference, a journalist inquired whether the judge considered the favorable evidences presented. Judge Lin Qiuhuang even replied carelessly, "Oh yes, but I'm too old to remember." How could a judge ignore the evidence favorable to the defendants? No wonder the rating of confidence in judicial system is lower than 10%. I teach my children in school how to behave, and I ask them to follow these rules. However, I see that when the government have done something wrong, they did not admit it, and even shift the responsibility to the people. In fact, the Taijimen case can be solved easily, as long as the government follows the law and revokes the illegal tax bill to end the 25-year injustice, and return the land that has been illegally taken from us. Only in this way can we give the next generation a correct concept of the rule of law. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. A teacher's good education can impact a student for life. However, a government's wrongful enforcement can also impact people's lives and even the rights to life. Next, we'd like to welcome another teacher. Please welcome Belle.
Hello everyone, I'm a high school teacher in Taipei. As a teacher, I always think about what the essence and importance of education should be. I became a Taijimen Dizi when I was a teenager. I'm so glad that I have the chance to understand the traditional culture and the wisdom of an ancient empire of Qigong. My Shifu, Dr. Hong Daozi, inspires me the highest philosophies of mankind of Tao wisdom by examples, words, and unspoken teaching, so that I could have a new understanding of life through immersion, and be wise when facing setbacks and challenges. I also realized the importance of conscience, and I'm grateful to heaven and earth and to the world, and I hope that I can do more good deeds and pray for world peace. This experience will also help me to apply it to my work as an educator, to care for my students sincerely, to set an example, to uphold righteousness, and to make the right judgment when facing the crossroads of good and evil. The subject I teach is about civics and society, which covers social science such as sociology, economics, and law. To put it simply, it is about how to build an order for people to get along with each other in modern democratic society through institutions. Regardless of the subject area, the basic concepts of human rights protection, freedom and rights, and observance of legal principles are all highly emphasized. However, for a teacher, the most distressing thing is that the principles we teach in classrooms are not followed in the real society, but the students are able to see with their own eyes how these jurisprudential principles are destroyed by the administrative officials. This July, the IRF summit in Washington, D.C. highlighted the Taijimen case which has lasted for 25 years. Although Taiwan's judicial ruling had confirmed that there was no crime and no tax default, the Administrative Enforcement Agency still abused its authority by forcibly auctioning off the sacred site of Taijimen. Such a serious violation of human rights has happened in Taiwan, a democratic country in the 21st century. Mr. Eric Ru, chairman of the European Interreligious Forum for Religious Freedom, said that when injustice occurs in a place that is supposed to be one of the good places of the world, the effects may be worse than when it occurs in an already totalitarian country, because it lowers the very standards of democracy for the entire world. It sends a message that injustice would not matter. I think this is a very serious matter. The Taijimen case contains many incidents of abuse of power and violation of law by administrative officials. The Control Yuan has listed 8 major violations of law against Prosecutor Hou Kuan-ren, requested the Ministry of Justice to take serious action against him. The Control Yuan has listed 7 major violations of law against the National Tax Bureau and proposed to rectify them, but regrettably, none of the administrative officials involved have been punished. Instead, they have been promoted after several years. During the 1996 unlawful investigation, Prosecutor Hou Kuan-ren took the news media with him to search the case, violating the principle of non-disclosure of the investigation. The next day, the news media made a lot of false reports, causing the innocent people misunderstood by the public before the trial. After the case was discovered to be unfounded, he went against the spirit of scientific case management by saying in a television interview that he saw a shadow in his eyes and was prosecuted for raising goblins. One cannot help but wonder whether there is any problem with the rules of law in Taiwan. Is it still a modern country that emphasizes science and evidence? However, the court accepted such a ridiculous indictment. In the end, it was not only waste of public money, national resources, but also a waste of people's time and youth. Finally, after spending as long as 10 years, Taijimen was acquitted of all charges and tax debt by all the judges, only to be denied in its entirety by the taxation authorities. Remarks that the court's decision does not count. At this point, the challenge facing teachers is, what should I tell my students? It is obvious that the administrative officials broke the law in the first place, but the people have to suffer persecution afterwards, and even after 25 years, the government still has not solved the problem, where experts and scholars from all over the world have come forward to criticize this serious violation of human rights. If the government authorities continue to connive at the misdeeds of a few officials who have violated the law, it will run counter to the human rights protection emphasized by modern countries. Should we walk by in silence, treating it as just one case in the history? Or should we have a sense of justice, stand up to injustice, and join hands to demand the government to reform improper measures and punish offenders, so that other innocent people will not be victimized in the future? I believe that teachers should have more moral courage and sense of justice than ordinary people, and should be brave enough to stand up for injustice, so as to set a role model for all students in the world. That our conscience lead us to do the right things for the world. That's all I like to share. Thank you all.
Thank you for your sharing, Belle. When I was a student, the teacher taught us to do the right thing and to abide by the rule of law. However, the government officials could violate the rule of law and got promoted, which is really hard for a teacher to educate her students. Let's welcome our next speaker. He is an engineer and will give us his observation after staying in Taiwan for over 30 years. Please welcome Yap.
Hello, everyone. I'm a citizen of Malaysia. I've worked and lived in Taiwan for over 33 years. In recent years, I've participated in the activities of the Tax and Legal Reform League and found that there are many taxpayers' human rights problems in Taiwan. At the year end of 1996, a Taijimen fake case have caused a social sensation. Prosecutor Ho Kwon abused his power prosecuting Taijimen, fabricating false amounts, falsely claiming that all the proceeds of fraud should be confiscated, and at the same time falsely claiming that the gift is tuition, and transfer the case to National Taxation Bureau or NTB for taxation. And as early as in 2007, Supreme Court third instance verdict had determined Taijimen criminal case innocent and tax-free, and the 弟子 red envelope to Sifu was determined as a gift, and it was tax-free income without any taxation issue. The NTB of Taipei and NTB of the Central Area also confessed that Taijimen is not a crime school in the official document of 2012 and 2013 re-examination decision. In this case, there is no taxation problem, and illegal tax bills should be revoked immediately. However, NTB still continue issuing tax bill based on the criminal indictment that was abandoned by the court. It seriously violates human rights. What is even more puzzling is that at the year end of 2019, the NTB also only corrected the illegal taxes to zero for the 5 years of 1991, 1993 to 1996, but maintaining the tax bill of the same nature for the year 1992 alone. On June 17, 2010, a public hearing was held in the Legislative Yuan. NTB was revealed to conceal the documentary evidence of Taijimen Dizi, and it also involved forgery of documents. At the meeting that day, the Ministry of Finance and NTB of the Central Area promised to revoke the illegal enforcement of the 1992 comprehensive tax and to resolve the unjust case within 2 months. But they broke their promises. Knowing that the tax sanctions and judgment made in 1992 were wrong, the Administrative Enforcement Agency still insisted on illegally auctioning and nationalizing the land intended for a sacred site of Taijimen on August 21st, 2020. Could it be that the tax bonus has already been paid and they don't want to correct the mistake? In this free, democratic and rule of law Taiwan, there are unscrupulous officials who dare to bully a group with tens of thousands of families, at the same time kidnap the government without being punished. Ye Yangchun, a technological talent, returned to Taiwan to contribute his talent, but the tax officials misinterpreted the nature of the receipt of his technical shareholding. He was tragically chased to pay taxes amounting 4 million NT dollar and restricted to leave the country, resulting in divorce, and was not able to go home to reunite with his children. In 2010, Han Teng and 3 others well-known international affordable clothing stores had paid taxes honestly, but were fined 500 million NT dollar for tax evasion, and they threatened to withdraw their capital in anger. Taiwan's tax system is complicated and opaque, and officials have tax bonuses, which has caused many tax victims and has led to a deterrent in starting businesses, and it affected the willingness to invest. Compared with Singapore, due to its fair tax system, in addition to effectively attracting foreign investment, it also attracts many outstanding foreign talents. Today, Singapore's per capita income is twice that Taiwan's. The salary in Taiwan has almost stagnated for the past 2 to 30 years, which has led to a serious brain drain. Therefore, Taiwan must have fairness and justice in the taxpayers' human rights in order to solve its tax victims' problem. It has been 25 years since the indirect tax Taijimen unjust tax case has not been rehabilitated. It is hoped that the government's conscience be awakened to truly realize transformational justice and value human rights, and to initiate with the rehabilitating of Taijimen unjust case, and also to implement Taiwan's legal and tax reforms. Thank you.
Thank you for your speech, Yap. An unclear tax system will cause the economy to stagnate and even regress, so implementing true transitional justice is crucial for improving the society. Well, last but not least, we'd like to welcome our final speaker, She is an assistant manager. Please welcome Tina.
Hello everyone, my name is Yan Ting. I'm here today to introduce Taijimen. This is a big family that I love very much. Brothers and sisters are so happy and joyful. Taijimen is a place full of positive energy. Shifu told us how to cultivate our heart and find our health by practicing Qigong. For the past 25 years, Shifu had led us to travel across 5 continents, visit 101 countries, meet many foreign leaders of state, travel to more than 300 cities, hold more than 3,000 cultural performances, and bring Chinese culture to the world. Through this, we promote the concept of conscience and spread love and peace, wishing that our world will return to a peaceful place, free of sorrow, fear, war, and suffering. But it was so hard to believe that such a spiritual group of ancient empire would be under the legal and taxation persecution by persecutor Hou Kuan-ren in 1996. He used false testimonies and defamed our ship-raising goblin, unlawfully accused Taijimen of fraud and tax evasion. At that time, people were overwhelmed by the flood of news and looked at us strangely. Even though there were only 610,000 NT dollars in my shifu's bank account, the prosecutor still fabricated 3.1 billion in tax evasion. Then the National Tax Bureau issued illegal bills, which is unreasonably large. This made Taijimen falling into criminal and tax litigation. After 10 years and 7 months, on July 13, 2007, the Supreme Court found Taijimen not guilty of fraud, tax evasion, or tax code violation. Yet, the NTB ignored the court's decision and continued to issue the unjustified tax bill to Taijimen. Last year, they even forced the illegal auction of Taijimen's sacred lands and nationalized it to the government. All of this wrongdoing should not happen in Taiwan, which is democratic, free, and governed by the rule of law. Dr. Arlene Barker is a professor at the London School of Economics and one of the founders of the modern field of academic research in new religions movement. She said that in her experience, Taiwan is a democratic country. She expressed the shock that over 300 legislators have spoken out on Taijimen case, but still unsolved till today. She added that Taijimen are fighting to keep Taiwan in accordance with his own law and as a democracy that curbs bureaucratic corruption. To vindicate the Taijimen unjust case is an important issue for the rest of the world, as the Taiwanese government attempts to transition to justice. I grew up practicing Qigong with my family at Taijimen since I was 15. We are grateful and lucky enough to become Taijimen Dizi, following the ancient rituals to practice Qigong. I also brought my daughter here together to practice Qigong. It is such a good place for my family and the many brothers and sisters, but all were destroyed by Hou Kuan-ren's fraud charges for abuse of power. From the criminal law to the tax law, this case highlights many loopholes and the bureaucratic culture of the Taiwanese government. During these 25 years, my sifu has been leading us to promote love and peace, and also a culture of conscience around the world. We never stop, even under this unjust bullying from the Taiwanese government. To vindicate Taijimen unjust case is to implement transforming the justice system and value human rights, hoping that the government's conscience will listen to the voices of people, building us a more stable and peaceful society and a brighter future for our next generation. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. 25 years can make a baby graduate from the university and a student become a middle-aged adult. These people chose to sacrifice their time and money just to defend the justice and human rights in Taiwan. Only when we persist and speak the truth, the society could progress for the better. The first step for the government officials is to face the truth and solve the case immediately. Thank you for all the powerful words from the 4 speakers. We hope these voices can be heard and resonated by more people in Taiwan and around the world. Let's all fight together for our better future. Thank you again for your participation today. We'll see you next time.